Interior barn night. Alec is still unconscious. Tricia is sitting beside him, damping his forehead with a wet cloth. His wounds are now mostly healed, his skin deathly pale.
No. Father, help! It hurts. It hurts so much.
Alec suddenly wakes up, his body jerking, searching for his sword. Tricia places a hand on his chest, holding him down.
You're safe. Relax.
Alec relaxes and leans back, though still tense, his eyes taking everything in.
How long have I been out?
Not long?
How did you find me?
I'm not sure. I just had a feeling I'd find you here.
Tomorrow is the lunar eclipse. We must prepare.
Prepare for what?
You don't know. Your father knows about the prophecy, so I assumed you all knew. He mentioned it in a letter he sent to me about the need for my help before the eclipse tomorrow.
I still don't understand. He would have told me.
He could have told you, but apparently he didn't. I'm sure he had his reasons. Didn't you?
Alec looks over Tricia's shoulders. She turns her head and sees Abe emerging from the shadow.
What are you doing here?
Spear indicated that this is where Alec might be. This used to be your favorite place when you were kids. It's time the mistakes of the past were corrected. You could do it, couldn't you? You could restore her memory.
Alec cringes in pain a moment.
That depends. How did it happen?
It'll take a bit to explain.
Alec struggles to his feet, still in pain, but on the way to healing.
What happened to you?
I was attacked by 3 guardian creatures. I had been weakened by the Master's mental touch, as I suspect she was as well. So I was unprepared for the physical attack.
He tried to kill you? But the prophecy.
I'm beginning to remember more, to put things together. I believe she's getting nervous, panicky. She knows that whatever she has to do needs to be tomorrow, by lunar eclipse night. She's scared she'll fail. She didn't expect me until tomorrow, or to be as strong as I am. She's starting to make mistakes. Depending on how it was done to begin with, I believe I can restore your daughter's memory.
I haven't forgotten anything.
I'm sorry. I should have never have let things go on for so long. When you were about 15.
When I was 15. I don't understand. You said I was sick, that I was delusional. I seem to remember I was confused for a while.
You were confused, that's true. And in a way you were sick, but it wasn't because of any normal human cause.
You lied to me all these years? But none of this is possible.
There were reasons. There was once a prince up in the castle.
Castle? It's been deserted for a century. Everyone knows that.
Not quite a century. It's been more like 20 years since I left.
20? That's ridiculous. I would have remembered. Okay. I'm not saying I believe all this, but who would alter my memories and why?
I think I know, but I'd like to hear it myself.
It was the Master who altered your memories. As to why, you will see or remember, if Alec can restore your memories, that is.
I believe I can.
But how can that be possible, changing your memories without you even knowing it?
Only Masters are able to alter memories that extensively, and only Masters can correct the damage.
You mean you're like her?
Your Master? No. A full Master, like any vampire, can't live in full daylight, and they have the usual weaknesses. Stake, fire, sunlight, decapitation, so on and so forth.
But you said...
I know what I said. The Master began a process in me which you prevented from being fully completed. Because of you, I'm only part Master instead of a full Master. While I hadn't realized it at the time, I've returned to repay my debt and to stop an Oracle's prophecy made 35 years ago rather than just another job.
Tricia shakes her head confused. Alec stands, almost fully recovered. He takes a step towards Tricia.
I'm going to need you to trust me like you never trusted another.
What do you mean?
You need to remember, I need a bit more strength. I'm about to do something I prefer not doing, but it'll help us both.
I don't...
Tricia looks over at Abe, who stepped back, then back at Alice, who stepped forward, his fangs extending, though he looks more sad than terrified.
Wait a minute.
Before Tricia has a chance to back off, Alec takes hold of her, bites into her neck. They both zone out, their faces glossing over. Interior, barn, day, 20 years earlier. Young Peter steps forward. He raises a sword that's way too big and heavy for him.
Stop! In the name of our Master, stupid. It's not stupid. You can't leave.
We have to leave, Peter. You can come with us.
Just shut up. I'm tired of always listening to you. You've always made fun of me and beat me. Well, I'm sick of it. You can't have her. She's mine, you hear?
I was never yours, Peter. We were just friends.
We don't have time for this.
Young Peter steps forward, his sword raised. Young Alec draws his own sword expertly. He blocks young Peter's attack easily and pushes young Peter back. Young Peter starts to tumble backwards, but then twists around to stop himself. He can't stop himself and falls hard, his face and head smacking against a wooden post. He's knocked unconscious, blood everywhere. Young Trisha goes to kneel down beside young Peter, concerned. Young Alec grabs her arm.
Leave him. If he knows we're here, then so does the master. We have to leave now, Trisha.
We can't just leave him like this. It isn't right.
He'd leave us if he were in our place.
He'd leave you, yes, but he wouldn't leave me.
Just because he has a crush on you does not make him a good guy.
I know, Alec, but we are the good guys. Just go. I'll meet you at the clearing. Don't worry. I'll be there. I promise.
You'll hurry.
Yes, I'll hurry. I don't want to be here any more than you do. Now go.
Young Alec turns and rushes out. Young Trisha watches him leave.
I love you, Alec.
She turns back to young Peter and starts looking after him. Exterior, woods, day, 20 years earlier. The silver-tipped arrow goes flying through the air and plunges into the master, knocking her back. Return to present. Interior, barn, night. Alec withdraws from Trisha and backs away stumbling. Trisha falls to the ground. They are both dazed. Trisha shakes her head, reaches up to touch the wound in her neck.
It goes blank after that. I can't remember anything after she tried to kill me. She tried to kill me.
Abe steps forward, helps Trisha to her feet, then to a nearby bench.
There's nothing more to remember, at least for you. You didn't wake up for days.
Fill in the gaps since neither of us knew what happened after that.
It's been 20 years, but I'll try to explain as much as possible about what happened while you were out.
Before you get into that, there's something I need to know.
What's that?
The vampires. How did they come here to begin with? How did my mother become a master?
Your mother?
She's the master. I think I've known the whole time deep down inside, but I really remembered when I was out, reliving those memories. You weren't the only person who forgot things, Trisha.
Okay. I'll tell you all about that. Your father should be the one to do it. Should have done it over 20 years ago, but he just couldn't, even back then. It was too painful for him. And it wasn't my place to tell you, even if I was married to your aunt.
What happened to her? To my mom? Did she really die when I was born?
I'd rather not talk about that. Okay, now, as to how all this shit started.
No, I'll tell them.
They all turn to see Brian emerge from the shadows. Alec steps forward.
Father? How?
It was her, the master, your mother. She returned me to my senses as if it was never taken away in the first place. Sorry, old friend, I followed you. I stayed hidden. I couldn't bring myself to say anything to you until now.
Why, after controlling us all these years, would she just suddenly free you?
I'm not really sure myself. She's getting old, though, just like the rest of us, even if she doesn't show it.
What, she wants you to join her or something?
Something like that. Right now she's got her hands full, so I'm sort of on my own.
Just like that, then. And Alec?
Just like that. I've got no place to go. I'm too old to start over someplace else. And as for Alec, she needs him for that damn prophecy. But I think she'd want him willingly, not forced. Don't ask me how I know that. It's just a feeling. Okay, I said I'd tell you how it all began, and I will. I'm sure you've all got a ton of other questions, but I'll start with that. As my son, you deserve that much. I could have done a hell of a lot more to stop all this, so you all deserve to hear everything, though I suspect Abe knows a bit already.
Nearly everything.
It's about 35 years ago, shortly after you were born.
Exterior castle courtyard, night, 35 years earlier. Bright with torches and green with life, a couple dozen people are lounging and chatting, a few laughing, servants are walking around. In the center of everything is King Brian, Queen Victoria, or the Master. And in Victoria's arms is baby Alec. Victoria is cooing over the baby as Brian looks on. Off to the side are Abe and the Oracle with baby Trisha. A servant approaches Brian and leans over to speak softly to him, but loud enough for those nearby to hear.
Count Roland to see you, sir. Shall I admit him?
They all look towards the darkness beyond the entrance, see nothing, but feel a chill. The Oracle comes out of her trance all of a sudden, standing up and almost dropping baby Trisha. Abe grabs the baby as the Oracle rushes over to Brian and Victoria.
No! Don't let him in! I saw this. This is what I warned you about. This is the beginning. It starts tonight.
I'm sorry about this. She's still not well.
Is she still rambling about that damn prophecy or whatever it is?
Be a little kind. She is your sister.
Oh, you know how I feel about infirmaries and that stuff.
Yes. Have you heard yet about that doctor fellow?
A specialist should pass through in a few days or so. He might have an elixir, I hope.
So do I.
I've had enough of this. I really have. Anything. Go on.
You sure that's wise?
Yes. What does she know? Yeah, she's crazy. It's been ages since we've had a royal visitor.
Their attention is drawn to Count Roland entering from the shadows. The servant dropping at his feet, dead. The Count is dressed entirely in black with a hood hiding his face. Smoky fog oozes from within his cloak. As the Count approaches Brian and Victoria, people back away. He suddenly rushes forward, his cloak swirling, plunging them all into darkness. Return to present, barn, night.
He didn't stay long, the Count. Maybe a night or two, but it was long enough. Everything changed after that.
Exterior, castle, courtyard, day, 20 years earlier. The courtyard is deserted, but for a few dead bodies, all drained of blood, and a few servants clearing them away. Brian and young Alec enter, surveying the carnage. All of the bodies are in various stages of armor, and there are weapons scattered all around, most broken.
It's the same. All the time it's the same. Where have you been?
I'm sorry, she needed to see me.
God, I should have listened to her when I had the chance.
None of us believed it.
I know you guys don't agree, but I think it's time we left. Got out of this area. Maybe start over someplace else.
I can't leave. I could still get through to her.
It's a lost cause and you know it. Besides, he's right. This place is a disaster.
Even if I wanted to, there's no way to do it. It's not safe. Not any longer. She's grown too strong.
What about the prophecy? While we waste our time fighting, it's getting closer. More so now.
I don't give a damn about that prophecy. We have to make a break for it. It is possible, but it's going to take all of us.
All of us.
Us three and Trisha. I haven't told her my plans yet, but she has to come with us.
All right, you're right. You should try to get out, be free. And take whomever you can with you, but not too many people. Keep things small. I'll help any way I can, but I have to stay here. I have to keep trying.
I'll help you escape as well, especially if you take Trisha with you. But I'll stay with your father and help him. He deserves my help.
I'm sorry it all had to come to this. There must have been a better way. Your mother.
They stand in silence. Return to present, interior barn, night.
I've heard similar stories from other towns and villages. It's always the same. We haven't heard this Count Roland before, but I've never run into him. He likes to keep on the move, unlike most of his kind.
You said both my parents were there when Count Roland showed up.
Yes.
Then when did she die and how?
Actually, she's still alive.
What?
You've met her. So have you.
The Oracle. She's her mother. The Master's sister.
Trisha. We We need to finish this up. Then deal with Victoria and her spawn.
Then finish it. Tell the last of it and we'll all go after them.
You suddenly reminded me of what your mother used to be like. You'll help then? Completely?
It helps to remember what I'm fighting for and what they took away from me.
I don't think we could do this without you. Okay, there are two things you all must know before we leave this room. The first, I've heard from the Oracle. From your mother, Samantha.
So you've spoken to her recently?
Oh yes, we kept in touch, so to speak. She's the one who originally told us all about the prophecy and what would happen, as you know. She found me, reminded me. I don't recall the exact words, but she spoke of a master someday ruling all of humanity with a companion master at her side, born of her own flesh and conceived on a lunar eclipse.
Which would be me, in this case.
Right, exactly. And if she can't have you, Trisha's her backup. Which is why she ultimately didn't kill you that day when you shot her with your arrow.
But I wasn't conceived on a lunar eclipse. It was a few days before Alec that I was born. I remember now that you telling me that when I was younger.
No, that's true, but there's always tomorrow night.
I don't understand.
I've heard enough. I can't let this happen. Even after all this time, I can't believe you've let this happen. And you're just a monster.
The Oracle laughs as Abe draws his sword and lunges at the master. The Oracle raises her stick and points it at Abe. There's a flash of light from the tip. A bolt of lightning shoots out, flies through the air, and hits Abe in the chest, knocking him back. Abe is on the ground now, very still, but his eyes are open. He's still alive and very much awake. The Oracle stands over Abe.
I've grown stronger since you last saw me, husband. Things are going to change around here, whether we like it or not. Our daughter will live, but only because we may need her, and you shall live as well. To watch over her and make sure she stays in line. But things shall change from this day forward.
The Oracle laughs again as Abe closes his eyes. Return to present. Interior farm dome. Everyone is seated.
When I woke, I was home in my bed and the world had gone to hell. Your memory of everything before that goddamn fog was gone. There was nothing I could do about it. Everything was gone. All the horses, most of the livestock. Anyone who knew anything about fighting was eventually wiped out. Well, she left the farmers and the craftsmen, just enough for us to sustain and take care of ourselves. That little was left, was eventually stripped away. Only the knowledge I had of blacksmithing, and my daughter helped me stay sane all these years. But step out of line, if only in the slightest, and they'd kill you. They'd keep Trisha alive. They made sure I knew that. Give Peter to do as he pleased.
And my mother.
The day you were born was the day she lost her mind and started having those damn visions of hers. She was no longer the woman I loved, no longer well enough to even take care of a child, and for all intents purposes, that woman died that day. Trying to explain that to a child, especially after what the master did to you, would have been way too difficult.
But I haven't been a child for a long time now.
I suppose that's true.
You say that you could stop them, kill them all. Then let me help you. I'd gladly see everything burn now that I know. And remember what's at risk and what's gone.
We need to make a plan and make preparations. Tomorrow. It's already morning. This evening we fight.
What should we do?
We need weapons. Swords, arrows, torches, and light.
Where do you find weapons? From what Abe's told us, they've been destroyed years ago.
They were destroyed, yes, but that's not to say I haven't been making new ones over the years, in secret, and storing them where no one could find them. I have enough for a small army, plus one or two surprises.
They're in those caves beyond the old mill.
How do you know that?
known for years, but there was no reason to say anything about it. You were careful, and I just kept my eye on things. If it looked like you were going to get careless, I would have said something sooner, but you didn't. I borrowed a bow and some arrows from time to time, returning them when I didn't need them.
For what?
No reason. Never wanted to start anything against the vampires or invite trouble like you did, but I wasn't completely stupid.
That's all fine. We also need to recruit and train as many people as we can. Anyone who's brave enough to stand and fight.
Tricia and I can handle that. We'd be lucky to get 20 or 30.
That should be enough. Get them back here in 2 hours and we'll begin.
Begin what?
Training. Or as much as we're able by nightfall.
These people never even lifted a sword before. How do you expect them to be trained by nightfall?
I don't. Most will die. It's their land. I expect them to help fight for it. Also, the master won't expect it. We'll have the element of surprise.
So they'll be bait.
Basically. Tell them what you wish. It's up to you. Just get me as many as you can.
The sound of soft giggling comes from just outside the door. Everyone stops and looks toward the doors. Alec gets to his feet, walks over to the doors very silently. He grabs hold of the handle and pulls open one of the doors with a quick motion. Peter falls forward, landing with a thud. He scuttles away alarmed. He continues to giggle. Tricia storms over and slaps Peter across the face. Peter tries to reach out for Tricia, but she backs up.
Tonight is our night, and we should be together to celebrate like the true companions that we are.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
You can't stop them. None of you can. They'll know your plans, and they'll stop you, kill you. They'll kill you all.
We can't let him report this to the master.
We need someplace to lock him up.
What about the old mill? That might work.
That's a good place.
Peter pulls a knife out of his jacket and strikes out, stabbing Abe in the stomach before anyone can stop him. Then in the sudden confusion, Peter dashes past them and flees out of the barn. Abe falls over. Tricia rushes over to him and catches him, lowering him to the ground. Alec rushes out of the barn after Peter. Brian just looks on. Exterior woods. Peter runs through the woods, occasionally looking back. Peter trips over something and falls, breaking his shoulder. Groaning in pain, Peter stumbles to his feet, looks around, seeing nothing but shadows and darkness. Backing up, Peter bumps into something solid. He starts to step forward, but a hand takes a firm grip of his arm and turns him around. Peter is face to face with Alec. Alec takes hold of Peter and raises him off the ground.
You've caused enough trouble, Peter.
I'll see you in hell.
Tell the devil I said hi.
Alec takes hold of Peter's neck. He squeezes and then snaps Peter's neck. Alec drops Peter's dead body, then turns and storms off. Interior barn. A few minutes later, Tricia, on her knees, holds a bloody rag to Abe's wound. Abe's in pain but conscious. Brian is off to the side, staring off into space. Alec quietly enters the barn. He stands over Tricia and Abe a moment silent. Abe looks up at Alec. Their eyes meet.
How is he?
I'm not sure. I think he's...
Leave us. Both of them. I'll take care of this. Go and gather whoever you can. Go and help her.
Brian gets up silently and subdued, but Tricia stays where she is.
What happened to Peter?
He won't be bothering us anymore.
I don't know about this.
Go, now. I'll be fine.
I don't know if I could do this. I'm not ready. I haven't been practicing enough and haven't shot at anyone with a bow since I was a child.
You can. I have faith.
I'm not so sure.
I will always love you.
I love you too.
Their hands squeeze for a moment. Then Tricia gets up. She gives Alec a harsh look, glances over at Brian, and then strides out of the barn with Brian following weakly. Alec watches them, then turns to Abe. He kneels down.
How are you feeling?
Feels like death.
Alec places a hand on Abe's wound, bows his head, and closes his eyes. He stays like this for a few moments. Alec opens his eyes and looks down at Abe.
I'm sorry, old friend.
It's all good.
I expected something like this.
I could turn you, heal you so you'll never die, never feel pain again.
It's all the same to you. I'd rather die. It'd be hell for me if I had to go through what you do. I don't have the strength for it. Not like you.
It hasn't always been so pleasant for me.
Oh, bad. There is one thing, though. If you're able.
Yes.
If I had the choice, I'd rather not go like this, stabbed in the gut by a madman. Bleed to death in a barn.
Abe stops, another coughing fit. After a moment, he stops and takes his hand away. There is blood in his palm.
You want to go on the battlefield, die fighting. I can help with that, if you let me.
Will it hurt?
No, but if I do this, there's something I'll need you to do for me.
What's that?
The Oracle's dwelling deep in the woods. She has something that belongs to me.
What is it?
What it is exactly, I couldn't begin to explain, but it'll be of great help to you in a moment of conflict. I'll need you to retrieve it later and then use it.
Will it hurt the vampires?
It will kill them. Any within range.
How will I use it? How will I recognize it?
I'll tell you all that in a moment. First things first.
Alex shuts his eyes a moment, preparing himself for what he has to do. Then he opens his eyes and looks down at Abe.
Just relax. This is delicate work.
Alec leans in towards Abe's wound as Abe leans his head back and shuts his eyes.